public outcry for people who want a better planet.
And there are powers that be that let the people panic.
Look at the Gulf of Japan, could they have really planned it? Heading for the iceberg like the Titanic.
Atlantic mystery, Atlantis white from history. The truth about the pyramids in ancient Mayan prophecy.
Space Odyssey, look into the anomalies, and you will find suppression of free energy technology. A false democracy born out of a monopoly. Sacred knowledge robbery like the towers they topple in.
Welcome to the 100th Monkey Radio with Tom and Ramon. We are very, very happy tonight to have the guests that we have with us, but we'll get to that here shortly. This is another one, Ramon, isn't it, that we had on our wish list?
Yes.
And another one we get a mark off. We've been marking quite a few off here this year. Let's see. You guys can find us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Vimeo, www.the100thmonkeyradio.com. Let's see what else. We did add another country this last week to our list of countries. We're now up to 117. And we added Jamaica. Welcome, our Jamaica friends.
Hey.
Oh, let's see. Anything else, Ramon? Oh, we're now doing a live show on the Truth Frequency Radio Network on Tuesday nights. So be sure to check out that show this next Tuesday on the 18th. We have Spencer Barclay. So if you want to know what's going on with our money, I mean, that's a very interesting series. You guys have been following this. We've done a Nature of Money series with Spencer, and it's been quite interesting learning the ins and outs of where our currency comes from, what it's really all about. Is it really there? So yeah, that's definitely something you'll want to listen to. And I'll tell you what, just talking with Spencer, I have learned so much about the what's the right word? The illusion of money, I guess, is probably the best way I can put it right now. But anyways, it goes right in line with understanding. Just it ties. I mean, there's so many parallels between the way our money system and the currency works, and the way energetics work on the planet too. I mean, the combination, the way money works and the way electricity works, just there are so many parallels there that it just blows me away. Let's see, what else, Ramon?
The last thing to say was there's news, I think you put this one on Mars. Over 100 NASA scientists quit or retire early over security obsessions with Mars rover. What are they so obsessed about? You can check out that link in the news link, and we have other news that you can take a look. And if you got, there's one I didn't put up, and I get the feeling that this one is not real. I've been trying to look into it and find out from military people here in Japan that there was a UFO crash ship over Okinawa, and then according to this news article, the the Japanese Navy came out and said it was a crash UFO off the coast of Okinawa, but I can't find any other news to vet.
That's only one link, so one source, so it's questionable just by that. So
yeah, so I'm trying to find out from the military here that I know in Japan, but nothing yet.
We'll see. If there's something to it, there'll be more out, and there should have been more out already, but I haven't seen anything either. So
yeah,
who knows?
Anyway, this person we have coming up next, I remember the first time seeing him, I think it was in the 1990s on Strange Universe, and it just blew my mind, and he hasn't stopped blowing my mind with the experiments he's been doing and just getting better and better at it. Tom, who do we have?
We have Mr. John Kenneth Hutchison. He is, as many of you have probably heard, he is definitely outside the box, and he has been doing some amazing stuff with electronics, energy of acoustics, yeah, all sorts of energy of all sorts of different kinds, and he's one of those proverbial garage inventors, so to say. This guy's, I know he's been offered quite a few different positions at different places to go to work for other people, and he's refused it all because he wants to do it his own way. And I've got to give him, kudos and for standing on his own 2 feet and standing strong and experimenting the stuff he's come up with. I'm going to let him go into his background for you, because what the bio we have an extensive bio here on the website, but I don't think that I'm going to get the right feel out of this. So, John Hutchison, welcome to the 100th Monkey.
Oh, thank you for having me on tonight.
Oh man, you are quite the amazing character. I'll tell you what. I know. I look in the mirror and I'm laughing. Oh yeah, you do crack me up sometimes. Some of the videos you throw up, I just end up rolling on the floor. But
I do too.
Well, you're definitely having fun with what you're doing. So, John, tell us a little bit about your background. What sparked here? There you go. There's a little pun for you. What sparked your curiosity into science and technology?
Oh, I was always interested in various types of turn-of-the-century and pre-turn-of-the-century technology. And I happened to search out Nikola Tesla and got inspired to recreate his laboratory, which I did do a long time ago in North Vancouver, Canada. And had some fun with that until other folks started to witness some strange effects that were happening with high voltage and radio interference patterns. And then they said, well, let's start filming this and let's document it, kind of thing. And I said, okay, if you want to. And this is something I'm doing as kind of like a history kind of thing. And, well, next thing I know that they offered me a contract to sign, which was a very 4-page contract kind of thing, quite easygoing. And they wanted me to come to Toronto, so I had my first aircraft flight to Toronto. It scared the heck out of me in the beginning, but I got used to it. It's really flying to this day. And then later on, Washington State University started to come up to witness some of the strange things I was doing. SAIC down in San Diego. Who else now? Electronics Power Systems. A bunch of folks came up, started taking pictures and videotaping everything. A long time ago when the galaxy was young.
Yeah. So what kind of stuff were you doing back in those days as far as experiments?
Well, I was saying what happened was these anti-gravity effects were happening and metals were turning into other kind of unusual alloys, which personally I didn't think it was a big issue and I wasn't interested in that too much, but friends that hung around me started mentioning this to other people, and the other people would show up and start interviewing me, saying it's very important kind of technology and this kind of thing. So I would start giving demonstrations at that time. Then they went to the U.S. Pentagon to meet with some generals because Ronald Reagan signed in the Star Wars program. And one of the generals wanted to go and tell Reagan about it right away. And another general said, no, let's go out and see John and fund him and see what kind of results he has, kind of thing. So that all transpired, and then they went back to Washington, D.C., and back to Los Alamos and wrote up a report along with videos, which I still do not have. And from then on, we were waiting, from what I gathered, we were waiting for a contract of $36 million to come through, which it never did do. And there was a lot of fighting going on in amongst the witnesses. There's most of the folks from Los Alamos and U.S. Army Intelligence wanted to continue, while one man said, no, this is not good, let's do not continue. So all of that kind of just went by the wayside after 4 months. Then a friend of mine, Colonel John Alexander, got a little ticked off at it all, and he called out yet another team from, not Lockheed, but McDonnell Douglas Aerospace. We did an open type experiment for 2 days. So I got the videos and report on that. It wasn't classified. So jumping ahead, I put it on mainstream media. They loved it. 6 o'clock news. Then as time progressed, giving other demonstrations, then the Canadian government got involved. So Deputy Prime Minister Eric Nielsen called in Dr. Lauren A. Kuhn, Dr. Wilson, and others to come and videotape and witness what was happening. And that transpired, and then later on the report was regarded as classified. I had a member of Parliament, like similar to the United States Congressman, trying to get the reports and videos, but they said, no, this is a matter of national security. Please limit your involvement with it, which I have those letters to this day. And what happened then, I was to find another contract, and that's when I took a vacation into downtown Vancouver, set up the lab in another location. and we were just going to show the general public, and then the building was closed down shortly after that.
And so this was all over the anti-gravity effect properties, mainly? Or
yeah.
Was this one... go ahead, John.
Oh, yeah, that was, let's see. So that upset the people I was working with, Paris Technologies, when I moved into Vancouver with that lab, and then the building was closed down. Then I moved, another group came and got involved, Owl Industries, through funding from Boeing Aerospace Corporation, and that carried on for half a year. Then I was advised by a German research team to get out of there, come to Germany, move to Germany, or ship the lab over there. So I went off to Germany with a lady friend from Hollywood who was a filmmaker. Arrived in Germany, and the lab was to follow, but then the Canadian government took the lab, making a very, very, very long X-Files story short. So that made the main media, and I learned of it while I was in Germany.
Wow.
So, yeah, living in Germany for 2 years, and I decided to return to Canada and deal with all the leftover stuff, which was fairly massive gun collection and a few machine tools. But I took anything related to Tesla and put a fence around it and said, warning, keep out. That's right in the main media. I have copies of those newspaper reports, but unfortunately I don't have the videos on that. So I dealt with that. I got tired of everything and auctioned off my gun collection in Canada. Then I was going to immigrate to Germany. Then I met up with a bunch of very well-off Japanese folks who suggested I come to Japan and give lecture tours. So that's running in now into the early 90s after a number of TV shows with Japan. So I did go to Japan on a lecture tour. It was quite amazing. They gave us, the main media over there gave us a half hour. And they had a duplicate of Tesla lab of mine over there. All in all, it was quite profitable, a lot of fun adventures. And then next year, 1995, with Dr. Brian O'Leary, we were invited both over to go on a free energy lecture tour, which I did do, going off one of my crystal power cell systems. And that was a number of weeks, and that was a lot of fun. The main media, again, covered it. Returning back to Canada, then I was with an engineer from the X-Tar Sands project, Richard, and we built one of these free energy machines, and we took it down to the Canadian Research and Development people right in their offices. And they said, well, this is very interesting, but we don't know what to do with it. Take it to the military.
Hmm.
So, yeah, my sponsor, and was quite dismayed at that. And he and I were working on towards processing some stuff that it's doing to eliminate nuclear radiation issues. But he was called back to the UK, United Kingdom. His father was in very bad health, so. Wow. Jumping ahead a bit. Then the TV people started coming around. Harry did a lighter production, Strange Universe. In the meantime, I was traveling back and forth to LA and that, visiting friends down there. And at the same time, working with the Artificial Reef Society of British Columbia, dismantling warships. So I'm pretty active and busy. And, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to step back a little further back. Did you ever have any formal training of any of this before you got into it?
No, just self-taught.
That's amazing.
On one radio show, I said I went in the coloring book and blocked,
So you never went to college or finished high school, correct?
No, thank God for that. I get programmed into stuff. I learned that my teachers were old timers that had machine shops and basements and old ham radio operators. They taught me everything I need to know. Gunsmiths, machinists, like I said, ham radio people, old electrical engineers, and even a friend of Nikola Tesla, Thomas Lee Richardson of Vancouver. So I had a lot of mentors. I love learning, and I learn something new every day. So that was my training, I guess you call it that.
That's amazing. I just wonder if our kids would train the same way. Because I teach English here in Japan, and I question the teaching style here.
But some of my friends who are graduates from like Toronto University and other places said, well, now I have to go through deep programming to understand what you're doing. That was one of my partners, George Hathaway, years ago, who was one of the main people I was involved with. So, yeah, my mentors were old-timers.
So before we get deep and heavy into your technology, I want to talk to you about your experience in the Gulf of Mexico, because you were doing some amazing stuff, and it was all over the well, not the major media, but just these kind of shows. Everybody was talking about what you were doing down there. What happened? So all this oil gets spilled, and then when do you go down to the Gulf of Mexico?
Well, that's an interesting story. I think my wife actually captured me to do that.
Nice.
Covered by the main media. Michael McCardle covered the going away story. We sold half the laboratory to a group in Germany, and the other through eBay. I love eBay. It's quite and I wasn't going to part with any of my muskets and old antiques and machine tools, so most electrical stuff that we're going to use in the Gulf of Mexico. So Nancy borrowed a pickup truck from her friend, Andrew, and a trailer from our friend, Jason. And she was coming all the way from Minnesota into New Westminster, British Columbia. She got caught up with Canadian Customs who don't have a sense of humor, saying that she was a tramp and all this nonsense, and I had to send them a letter saying, no, it's this blah, 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 It's like, what's wrong with these people? Are you mental or what? So, eventually she got in. We did all this work to get eBay stuff done, the stuff off to Germany, and that was a number of months. And she has a trailer totally loaded up with many tons of stuff. Antique guns, machine tools, radio stuff, and 2 containers were shipped to Andrew in Minnesota. Off she goes, and I was going to get a plane into Portland to meet up with her, but she got stopped. She made it okay through the border going into the United States, but the FBI were talking about our little adventure with British Petroleum's little Cherry Point station, which looks like an invitation to come and check us out thing. So the FBI and all these people were going on and talking to her, and she said, no, I'm going to start the interview with the camera. It was all about the Cherry Point station. And then she made it okay down into the United States, of course. And when I took off, I got surprised by the Gestapo, or Homeland Security, as it's called, crossing into the United States, which I've done literally hundreds of times. So they interrogated me, wanted to know all my bank details and blah, 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 take pictures and finger shots and fingerprints and blah, 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 blah. Then they say, come back with the documents, and you can come through into the United States. So I came back with the documents. They looked them all over, photocopied them. Then I was in the United States. Kind of unheard of for a Canadian to be interrogated like that, but nevertheless,
Welcome to the new United States.
Yeah.
Well, there's so many weird things going on now. Super paranoid about every discarded brown bag laying around or whatever.
Right.
But anyway. So anyhow, we took off through the Gulf of Mexico, and we had our adventures getting there. We did all the testing before and see if it's feasible even to see what would oil do in water. What's in the quarter water? Why did Nancy said it worked in the quarter water. Why can't it work in the whole Gulf? So, okay.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
So I was very skeptical of all this stuff, and I went on, and we eventually made it to the Gulf of Mexico, set up a location, and start running the tests. And the test results before and after, carefully done, showed huge drops in hydrocarbons and other things. My proper scientists can analyze this kind of thing. So test after test after test. The scientists would send the PDFs, and I upload them on SlideShare. So I said, well, there must be something to all this. So on we went, and we wound up East Point, Florida, where we had, about 3 months or 4 months there. So some of my friends from Los Angeles popped in to say hello. Korianka Kelcher, an actress lady. And my other friend, Richard Heaney, who's known as the Balloon Boy stuff, he dropped in with his wife and family and lending support and media and that kind of thing. All in all, it was quite the adventure.
So what technology were you guys using to do that with the oil and water?
Kind of a modified Hutchison effect.
So it's basically like an acoustical kind of, or
here's Nancy.
This is Nancy. There's a video on it called Decontamination of Indian Creek. You can look that up on the internet. I posted on Vimeo. I think it's about an hour, maybe an hour and a half long. It goes into real detail on what we did there.
Great.
Back, you see the scalar waves in the water. You see the minnows started to come in. And the last night we were there, I thought, oh my goodness, we had an oil slick in because it was midnight, and there's the top of the water was looking really strange. And I went down and I filmed it, and there were so many fish in the water that they were basically bubbling out.
Quite amazing. And the owner of the property was Bob Allen, who appeared on a number of interviews with another videographer for a documentary, and luckily I have those videos online as well. He was very happy with the results.
It was contaminated. Yeah, it was poisonous. That creek was horrible. There was oil coming in on one side and sewage coming down the other side.
Oh, wow.
He's the one that is that the video where the guy says he's been there for like 35 years and that's the cleanest he'd seen it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Bob probably.
Yeah, that was Bob Allen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Quite the adventure there. It was a lot of fun.
So out of that whole event, did you get any kind of interest from any official capacity of any kind?
Oh yeah, with CNAV, friend. I'll just call him. I don't want to use his last name. John is his name. What came down as the guest interview and that suggestion.
They kind of feed the stuff into the Navy, but there's nothing official. I got an email from BP saying they looked at the YouTube videos and they decided that they're going to still use the correct thing.
Yeah, and they said also they evaluated the technology.
Yeah.
But they didn't ever seen it.
Oh, yeah, the guy of the Navy tried to get that and put an official request into BP for their evaluation of our technologies that was counter to it, and never got a response.
Uh-huh.
So
That's surprising.
That's when Fukushima hit, and then John remodulated things to work against the radiation.
So when that happened, Fukushima and Nancy decided to come back up to Minnesota, set up things, and start seeing what kind of results would happen. And we started to get some positive results with the technology as well. And Nancy made a lot of very interesting videos on that. And then I bought her a ex-SWAT bus.
That was a wedding gift.
Wedding gift, yes. Which then became a portable ray gun on top of it and other machines inside. Then Andy and I and Nancy, we just decided to go to the West Coast, Southern Oregon, and set up the whole thing down here, the whole apparatus.
So everything is pointed at Fukushima. You really should look at John's YouTube and look at the videotapes of what these frequencies look like, and they are showing up in Reactor 1, Fukushima. For instance, you can see that they're mutating and imprinting on the metal inside of the reactor.
I received actually the audio sound signal from Crystal Clark. She sent it to me, and Tom, you buried a steel rod.
Yeah, when you put out a call just shortly after that happened over there, and asked people to, even if you just drive a piece of rebar into the ground, right? 4-foot chunks of rebar, which I didn't quite understand what exactly that would do. My mind just doesn't quite understand those, the way frequencies work, radio frequencies work and everything. But I went out and drove a couple of 4-foot chunks of rebar into straight down into the ground, and with the intention that it assists with what you're doing. So, can you explain what exactly that effect is and what you're transmitting there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's okay. Putting rebar in it interacts with a very, very weak magnetic field of the Earth, along with RF being collected with these pieces of steel in the ground. Because I transmit very low on the hydrogen band, 1420 kilomegahertz.
We had someone in Minnesota do that. I tested inside of her house and ensured her radiation levels were way low. And outside of the field that was being created, it was like double. Where the eggs from Trader Joe's, those were radioactive.
Radioactive eggs. Not surprising, because the main media in Canada was reporting a lot of radiation issues in British Columbia. But I don't know down in the United States if they're talking about that on main media. I don't know. But they could have. I just haven't been following it too closely.
Yeah, well, I think the major media here hasn't been saying a whole lot at all about any kind of radiation from Fukushima coming over here.
I can tell you what the major media is saying here. They basically, I met this guy who went and filmed up there, and they go up there to help people out because people are still living in squabbles. Like the government hasn't really helped people, and the what do you call those, the radiation readers, they have one reader that gives you the actual reading, and then another one that they use for the media that shows that things are pretty good. So according to the major media here in Japan, everything is okay, and people should go back to work to Fukushima because everything's fine. So
That's what about BP too.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, they're doing the exact same. What is that called? Pony and balloons routine.
You can go to ENT News, ENENEWS.com, and they scour for information. They had all the radiation contamination models, all kinds of information there. Reports coming from Japan of the mutated insects. And so there's definitely a problem. There's also the reports from the independent scientists on the air filters in Tokyo seeing the same number of hot particles as Seattle, and that Tokyo should have been evacuated. But that was just too much trouble. So, yeah.
But you can't.
If you guys can find Hiroshi Yamabe, he has a duplicate of John's lab in Hiroshima City. We have not been able to find him. It would be relatively easy, better than packing up everything here and getting it to Japan. But it would be relatively easy to set up a station right there in Hiroshima City.
The industrial part of Hiroshima City, not too far from Ground Zero, which is the Peace Memorial Park.
Yeah,
So, that's where you learn a lot about atomics. Is that special?
Who's your other contact there? Because John lectured in Japan in the 90s, and Hiroshi Yamabe was his sponsor who brought him there.
Yeah, and he had other sponsors, Sonyo. But the main television station, JOGM-TV, Mr. Hino, staff reporter, division of N News, he was our main media person there, too.
So if somebody can find Hiroshi Yamabe, find out what happens at lab, and could have their own Hutchison effect right there. I mean, John's doing everything he can to get across the Pacific. That's why he's in this spot that he's on in the southern coast of Florida, or southern coast of Oregon. So you can find him. He's nowhere on the internet. The only place that name's posted is in John's documents that he's put out there. I don't know what happened to this.
Wow.
So you don't have a contact for him that maybe I can give him a call today. Do you have any
phone number? You try calling the phone number to somebody answering Japanese and couldn't speak English when we can't speak Japanese.
That's his old phone number, too.
If you can give it to me like off air later, I'll try give him a call. And
Okay.
try give.
Yeah, get the name and the correct spelling and everything too, Ramon, and maybe you can hunt him up.
I'll scan the bid card in and I'll send it over to you by email.
Okay.
Yeah, Nancy got the business card. He was Also, later on, one of my main sponsors for building free energy devices. That would be up to about 2001. And then the last time I seen him was late 2004, after I was working with Discovery Channel on Ark of the Covenant. He was very interested in that, and he said, I will try and reintroduce you to Japan. That was the last I seen him.
Wow.
Yeah, very strange.
Well, you know, people do have a tendency to disappear once in a while on this planet.
Yeah, especially with dealing with these machines. So,
Had a lot of
I was gonna say with the because I'm very interested in wanting to set up something here where I live at, because I live in Chiba, which is about 2 to 2.5 hour drive from Fukushima, depending who's driving. So is this something very easy, simple to set up?
Oh, wow.
It's a trace tone. It's a complete wave file of the tones. We are phase shifting the tones now before they go into the radio frequencies. So the actual audio tones are driving the radio signal generators. And we're phase shifting the audio tones first. John says we've got about 2.5 times the power by doing that. And we're going to be testing what we call sound cannons to see if we can trace some things that just use the audio tones and if they're effective against the radiation. So first you get the tones, put up the rebar. We're pointed right at Fukushima. I mean, you can actually watch the weather patterns to see the bubble that we create.
Dutch friend of mine, Dutch Vince, I don't know if you heard of him.
Oh yeah.
He picked this up in Florida by his tracking system. And how did he contact us, Nancy?
Oh, I found him through somebody else. Somebody else contacted me and got a hold of him.
So they contacted Dutch. Then when we were coming back to Minnesota from East Point, Dutch put us up in the hotel and tested out our machines and stuff. So that was a lot of fun.
You can actually pick up it's called the anti-harp signal.
The anti-harp signal, yeah.
Anti-harp signal. I like that. So does it have a nullifying effect on what they're doing with the ionosphere?
We hope so.
Well, yeah, I hope. It falls in the area, the main frequencies, which are the hydrogen band, and where other things appear, like paranormal activity, that Dr. Robert Jan discovered, along with the solar flux index band. I thought, well, what the heck, I'm going to try this band because so much strange stuff happens on it. So why not send a signal, special type signal into that band and see what happens. Normally, if I would set up a huge signal, then C-SETI would get upset because they're getting all the strange signals coming in. It's a matter of just the information, kind of like how people program water.
Right.
An actress friend of mine, Sandra Fox, does H2 home water. She's done a lot of studies on it, and it's a matter of just mined into the water. Got to follow up in the line of Dr. Rupert Sheldrake, actually, and others that give lectures on this kind of stuff.
So you think consciousness has a big effect in what you're doing also?
Oh yeah, that is been proven a number of times by different groups, and mass consciousness really has major effect. Where Art Bell did an experiment 2 times with his coast-to-coast audience and got results every time, and that freaked him out a little bit, and he didn't want to ever repeat that again.
Right.
I did this.
Yeah, I recall that.
Study it in journals and that kind of stuff. The Neotic Science Center in San Francisco. Other people's research, even my own manifestation kind of thing. There's something to that. Big time.
Yeah. Well, I'm just wondering if you're projecting this acoustic wave, and is that just becoming a medium for the consciousness to have a medium to work through?
No, sure.
Yeah.
And the more people become awake, I think the stronger that gets.
Hmm.
Anyway,
So
that's my theory.
So I'm wondering as well, the acoustics you're sending out, because some people believe that humans are like antennas, and let me see, do human beings themselves, can they act as like what's that called, Tom? Like the rebars.
A relay
Yeah.
of some kind.
Exactly.
Yeah, good idea. Sure. I noticed there are a lot of people that are waking up. Normally they're kind of dumbed down by television and other crazy stuff, but there are people waking up.
Well,
I mean, at all levels, that is.
yeah, you can't help but wake up right now in this world, and I mean, there's so much blatant fraud and crime and crap, and I mean, just the people who are actually becoming aware of that, those clouds that are being created by the jet airliners flying over our heads, that didn't used to happen.
No.
Yeah, so I agree full-heartedly. There are people waking up moment by moment. There are more and more people who are going, hey, what the hell's going on here?
Can I jump in here for just a second?
Absolutely.
We've got radio frequencies, we've got audio frequencies. If you take a C note and you go up an octave, it's still a C note. You go up another octave, it's still a C note. You go up 100 octaves, it's still a C note, but you're up in the radio frequency. So it's all basic stuff, all these patterns. And the tones that we're using are ancient tones, hidden in full view. They're Gregorian chants and solfeggios. They've been used in resonance chambers called domes in churches for decades and thousands of years. So, there's some real basics here that if you folks understand this, your body is a sender and a receiver of electromagnetic energy. That's easily proven. It's been proven since the 1970s. So you can take in all kinds of different frequencies. You can block all kinds of frequencies, and you can also send out frequencies. You can amplify something that's such as this, which are these tones, which are the basic order and structure for DNA, for the universe, however you want to call it. Everything is energy pulsating on and off, on and off, on and off. And we call that pulsation a frequency, a vibration. So you can do that. There are things that you have to do to get your body in that order, and you have to get your thoughts, you have to have control over your thoughts, but you can do that, and you can be an absolute magnifier, amplifier of order in chaos. So out of the chaos comes the order, and it all has to do with your own choice. I've gone on the equipment as part of the equipment in the transmission.
Wow, that's amazing.
And anyone can do that. It all has to be a matter of your choice. You can choose the chemistry of your body just by using your power and your will. You can change your own body chemistry.
Yeah. I fully agree with that. Fully agree with that. And I think as more and more people do that quote unquote wake up thing and start raising, a lot of people talk about raising your own vibration. In a sense, yeah, I don't necessarily vibration. That word doesn't quite cover it for me. But in a broad sense, it fits. But as you raise your vibration, raise your consciousness, your level of your consciousness, your awareness of your actual situation here on this planet. As that awareness raises, I think, especially if the intent is for growth, the intent is for the best and highest good. If that intention's behind that vibration, then you do what's been talked about throughout the ages, as in clearing your own path. Seek and ye shall find. When the student is ready, the master will appear. Type situation. Everything starts working for you to accomplish the intention that you have. So, anyways, that's how I see us raising our place here on this planet.
You cannot force your opinion or will on someone else. You can be an observer and say, there's all this chaos that's happening. What you can do is change you.
Exactly.
And the operation of that, the actual changing of you, changes everything else.
Exactly. Yeah, I kind of call it the splashback effect. Whenever I learned this lesson the hard way multiple times in my life. I have a pretty thick skull, and it takes a little bit of time for things to get through sometimes. But yeah, I call it the splashback effect, where I tried to change things around me or share information or knowledge or theories that I had with other people who weren't ready for it and weren't asking for it. That information would hit them, and something would bounce back and knock me for wherever into next Tuesday. Yeah, I definitely suffered my own the results of my own pushing. Every action has that equal and opposite reaction, right?
Oh yeah.
And it's when you get a lot more by asking questions than giving information. So asking somebody, are they ready? Or would you really like to know what's going on? Then it's up to you to show a path if you do that.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why
We do that with our videos so much to show people, like when we're interacting with the frequencies and all these bizarre images were coming all over the place, and John's face was morphing, and there is some kind of energy ball coming out of my mouth, and trying to show this to people, and how they received it was quite interesting. Some people thought it was great. Some people thought, you show that kind of stuff, and nobody's going to want to have anything to do with you.
Oh boy!
When they're ready, they'll see.
Exactly. So, have you had any, what's the right word here, miraculous type of health benefits from any of the stuff that you guys have been doing?
Nancy, you want to cover that one? Health benefits?
Benefits? I kind of have I'm kind of following along on the Athene's model, where you have to change what you put into your body so that your body is at rest, then your mind can be controllable, because your mind's not controllable when you're in dis-ease and disease. So that's kind of part of it. When we first got here, we're taking all the food and putting it up in front of the ray gun before we'd eat it was the most fantastic taste food you can imagine. I think that we have a lot of things that we were challenged with in the Gulf of Mexico. There was a lot of MRSA. John got MRSA. He should have probably had his arm amputated, but it was resolved in about 2 weeks. When we first got onto Indian Creek and got down there, we got hit with all the chemicals, got sick for about 2 days, and then started on just some real basic knowledge things about getting remineralized in the body of everybody. We started giving them these smoothies, and we were taking the water and sticking it in front of the ray gun and then drinking it. So, yeah, Bob, the guy that said in 35 years he hasn't seen that, and he's in his 70s, came in and said, I don't know what you guys are doing, but I'm able to get an erection in the morning now.
Oh, nice. Oh, geez. Hey, well, there's a huge market out there
for that one.
For Viagra and Cialis and all that crap. They're a huge market out there. I mean, look at my junk email box. It's just packed full.
Well, that's your blocked arteries. I mean, if a guy is having challenges there, he's got huge challenges with blocked arteries on his heart. So, if he's able to have his morning playtime, that means that his heart's doing a lot better. So, I don't know. I guess there's a lot of things. We should have been really sick for a few years. We've been living in this field, frequency field, and there were people that was down the Gulf of Mexico that we met that died from the poisoning, and it was very, very devastating. We were in a certain area, and then we moved over to East Point, and where we had been was where that woman was, and she died shortly after that. So, we can only do what we can do. And people want to participate in what we're doing. We set up a nonprofit, kind of in response to Jesse Ventura's Death Ray program. We have a nonprofit called Life Ray, life-ray.org. All kinds of videos there, and we do updates on what's going on and what we're building, and people can participate, and we will have seminars, we'll have workshops here. Hopefully we'll be ready in about 6 months, and we can bring in about 50 people to do some apprenticeships, and we'll be working like bandits here, trying to get the sound cannons together and tested, so that there would be something that others can use in a simple process instead of all these pieces of equipment. But,
I like that. I like that a lot. Life Ray.
Yeah. Everyone can do something. Like when you say that people are becoming aware, one of the really hard parts is when they become aware, they become depressed.
Yeah. Because
it's like the Matrix. Give me the other pill. I want to go back into the illusion. And they don't know how to deal with this other reality. They like the original one that they didn't have to think, they didn't have to act, they just were their little robots. And so when they become aware, now what do you do? What do you do with this information? And it's just a very difficult time. It can be very depressing for folks.
Yeah.
And a lot of them turn to arming themselves and figuring that, if they get a bunch of guns and they get themselves into survival mode and they can, have their little hole that they can live in and shoot everybody that comes and tries to rob from them, they're missing out on an opportunity, because violence has in the past for eons has been used to overcome tyrannical, violent government. And violence has been used to do that, and all it's done is replace another system with more violence.
Yep. Yeah.
And I think that there is a force that's greater than violence, and I think it's staring right in front of us. It has to do with the order of the vibrations of us.
Yeah.
Well said.
So-
Well said.
So we're coming up on the break. John and Nancy, want to give you a chance to give out your information, emails.
Okay. Everything I have is on my YouTube channel, and that channel is called John K. Hutchison 1.
And that's Hutison. There's no N in the middle. John K. Hutch. Hutch is on numeral 1. That's what you see.
I got all the links to different on the channel, different links to SlideShare and other things there on the side.
And John has his humor on there as well. So
He got a sense of humor. Life's not worth living, right?
Is the HutchinsonEffect.ca website yours also?
No, that's a pirate website run by an extortionist.
yeah,
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
he gets donations all the time, and it's not John. And John has tried over and over again through all types of law enforcement to get that removed, and he can't get it down.
Yeah, okay. He even GoDaddy still keeps running it. Pretty pathetic.
And there's Life, LIFE -RAY.org. And there's the opening page. It's about a 15-minute video. I really encourage everyone to watch the video. You can skip it. Just click on it and skip it. But it really lays out why we're here, what we're facing. It's a wake-up call. And then the rest of the website has information on the videos of the different work. There's videos of other people talking about John. And then coming up, which is going to be hopefully within the next week or two, and as soon as we figure out how to do this with getting all the back end on accepting credit cards, John is putting all of his private library, his collection of VHS tapes. We have gotten them digitized, and one by one we're going to be putting them out on H2OO, H2OO, and that's for Andy Holman and John Hutchison are the H2OO.
Nice.
And
Uh-oh.
that's H2OO.com. It's not live yet. It's on a temp site. And the very first video out there is his 1987 lab. This is the lab that was taken by the Canadian government. It's amazing. It's absolutely fantastic. There are ray guns all over hanging from the ceiling. And John and I go through it and explain what each piece is in the lab.
Nice.
So,
And
yeah.
you also have you have a GoFundMe as well.
Yeah, that's in research and to get a good, solid, free energy device out there so I can put it out there for everybody to look at and copy it.
Open source. John's all about open source.
I love that.
Nice. Yeah.
Okay, well,
So-
we're going to get into the free energy in the second segment for sure, and we'll continue this on in hour 2. I want to thank everybody for listening, and I want to thank John and Nancy for joining us here. Some good stuff. Condemnation without investigation is the height of ignorance.
The love you deny is the pain you carry.
And we'll see you in the second hour.
No stopping free.
J Brave, Vito C.
Coming from the inner me.
Free energy. The oil's running dry. Our money's burning out.
Solar panels on the roof of the White House.
Hey, we bringing on some real change.
Water catchment system.
We collecting rain.
Time to gather round. The moment's now. And when it all turn out. And from the crowd, be the one who's the meditation. Time for free energy.
Nikola Tesla perceived the earth as a conductor of acoustical resonance, and still his presence lives in the heart of visionary invention. Over 5,000 patents censored.
Researching zero-point energy, trying to get through delirium. The unified field theory of Nassim Harriman, and every day we carry in the burden of our past. Water fuel cars, we no longer need the gas.
So many solutions right here in your face. Raw earth energy, create what rejuvenates. Green walls and green roofs, grow plants on everything. Magnetic movements, don't need gas for anything. Spaceless rockets, doing our own research, paying out of pocket. Bike-powered stages, you pedal in our rocket. Fully access to techie knowledge. Green power over big profit. You can't stop it.
Ever think what the wars are fought for? Ever dream that the world could be more? I'll send my life by earth, one chance we could do it together. Ever think what the wars are fought for? Ever dream that the world could be more? I'll send my life by vow, one day we could do it together. Oh, yeah.
The Renaissance, third industrial revolution. Invention is the language of a worldwide solution. The body electromagnetic, plasma arc reactor, stubble field, Kautsky frost. Free the knowledge lost.
Some people wait for 2012 to watch the earth shift, but in New Mexico they out there building earth ships. We got the language wrong, I got a new twist. The lifting of the veil, that's the true apocalypse.
Some see free energy as the enemy, but my genetic memory remembering that could never be. Thoughts float in the anti-gravity. A cubic foot of space can fuel the whole world annually.
You can choose to love or hate, we vote or maybe meditate, and every day we demonstrate so we can finally get it straight. Peace worldwide is the anthem that we celebrate. Free energy like the end of the movie Saint.
Time to gather round, the moment's now.